welcome to His Excellency President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda. The last time I was in a unique position of hosting the President in Kigali at a Mindspeak function, and I remember introducing the President and saying that in my world he is a rock star because of the way he's going about making things happen for the country. And still I meet Rwandan people who tell me, but Ali Khan, no one has called our president a rock star, so I will call it to him again. So we are privileged to have a rock star in our midst this morning for breakfast. It's extremely exciting. Just to mention a couple of other things, it's a privilege to be the host moderator today for such a 21st century program with a 21st century chairman and a 21st century president. This is a can-do room, Mr. President. I want to just talk about one last thing. I follow social media a lot, and when the President was in Washington for the US-Africa Summit, he said to his audience, the markets are never wrong. And in all that noise in Washington, that was the sharpest signal any president gave to that group. And I remind you again, Mr. President, of what you said there. So Karibu to our very first, very 21st century East African president.
So good morning. First of all, I wanted to thank you, Chairman and members of the Chamber. And really we are here, I think we are going to be discussing matters of interest to Kenya, to Rwanda, and also in the wider context of the East African community we live in. And it's just about business, it's about, you know, all of it comes down to people. I think we are talking about how prosperity can be achieved in any of our partner states of East Africa, and it becomes one family really. So I think the discussion we are going to have is in that context, I guess, and I'm glad to be able to be with you this morning to have this discussion, and we are in it together for quite a long time. I want to not separate so much in at least my frame of mind, business and the government. I want to look at the situation as those being two parts of the same thing. Because government, what does government serve? It serves the people, and therefore anything that they are doing. But the people on the other side, if it is business, business means everybody who is involved, and it really covers the whole ground, if you will. So in the process of execution, business is involved, government is involved. So how does each side fulfill, so to speak, its mandate, which again adds up to what happens in the country and the impact to everyone in the country, because one way or the other we find we are really all linked and together, one thing affecting the other. So we have to create systems that build on what each side can easily associate with, systems that therefore we are able to read and say the processes are working fine. They are slow, they are fast, or they are really on hold, they are stopped. So systems are important. And it keeps coming to many things which people say in many ways and leave a big room for interpretation. You know, I remember somebody, I mean, this is what, let me put in a little bit of controversy for just making the, you know, when it was said in a speech that you remember, and people are popularly, you know, attached to that. And this was said about Africa. I wonder why it wasn't said in relation to the global situation. That we don't need strong men, we need strong institutions.
Yes.
But these institutions are full of strong men and women. If they are going to work, if the institutions are really going to work, institutions are made up of people. Institutions are not other things, but institutions are, if you will, institutions get into place and they do what they are supposed to do. Of course, the institutions are very important, but the people, even good leaders, I don't know what meaning this word strong may have, whether it was supposed to be always interpreted as negative, but strong may not be negative, can also be positive. So you have people creating and allowing creation of institutions, even if institutions remain very important, but you still have these individuals having to. So institutions, therefore, in countries like ours or in a region like this, institutions must be stable, must be there, they must be strong. But do we also have leaders that actually deliver on the expectations, on their mandates, the way they should be, these individuals delivering their different kinds of responsibilities, so that everyone is drawn in, they contribute, they participate, they have their expectations met. This is something one grapples with every day. It never stops. When you have a responsibility, it doesn't, whether in business or, and that's why there are leaders across. There are leaders in the government, there are leaders in the business, there are leaders everywhere and at different levels. It means how are these leaders going about their business in relation to delivering results that are expected, that contribute to the whole, that creates the changes wanted.
Isn't that word accountability in that as well? Like,
absolutely, absolutely. When you are checking through the system, you are looking at where things are slow, and the question is why are things slow, and who was responsible for doing what. Therefore, you want to interrogate that and say what happened. And of course, accountability's essence is if you do what you are supposed to do well, there will always be rewards one way or the other. Either it's the profit you make, it's you know, the promotion you get at work, wherever. It's, you know, but if you are doing something wrong, deliberate or otherwise, and constantly you are being reminded and saying, you know, then you've got to explain why are you doing it that way, or why are you not doing what you are supposed to be doing. Therefore, you should also in your mind expect that there are going to be some kinds of penalties, one form or the other. It's either the loss you incur, but here the bigger question is, if it is your business and you incur the loss, fine. I think you don't want to make the same mistake next time. But and that was yours. But if you make such a costly mistake, say in public service, in serving the public and say in government, and you are not just hurting yourself, you are hurting many other people because you are in that position to serve different people, and people look to you for these results we are talking about. So can we have people doing anything anyhow and the other side hurting people, and people accept it that, well, that's how he wanted it, or that's, you know, it was just a mistake, but mistake that has hurt more than the person who made the mistake, but the other people who are supposed to serve. So that explains the necessity of accountability. The accountability is the whole process of reward and penalties. And being able to say, to explain yourself why you did not do what was expected.